what's missing, I think, is this sense of entrepreneurship. And I think that entrepreneurs are completely, at the moment, entrepreneurs are completely misunderstood by governments at a British level and certainly at a European level. I think in America, where state by state they have a great degree of autonomy, over what the rules and regulations that affect businesses are, what local tax rates are, where competition is not a dirty word. I think in America, there's a lot more encouragement for entrepreneurs than there is here. But that may change.
Why do you think that there isn't more entrepreneurship or business-minded people in government? If you look at America, Donald Trump, I know he's a friend of yours.
Such a great guy, so good, he's amazing.
He's looked at it in a completely different way, hasn't he? He goes in and he looks at these deals, trade deals with Russia and China and, creating network and relationships across the globe. He doesn't want conflicts, he wants harmony. And so why don't we have that in the UK, do you believe? And is there anything we can do to encourage more entrepreneurship in government?
It's important to remember that during our entire period of membership of the Common Market, then European Union, virtually every single piece of legislation that affected business, that affected employment, did not come from Westminster. Did not come from Westminster. It's why repeated general elections, we talked about health, we talked about education, because they were the bits we were in charge of. I mean, the City of London, where we are now, from 2010, there was not one piece of UK primary financial market legislation. All of it came from Brussels. So part of the answer is we've forgotten how to do it. Mm-hmm. We've forgotten how to do it. And since we have had Brexit, and it's only 3 years since it really happened, we've been very, very slow to take advantage of the potential benefits of it. Although what happened yesterday, was an example that we can do the right thing. So I think we've forgotten how to do it at a governmental level. And I think more broadly, within the country, we're telling all our kids they must go to university. We're telling all our kids to go and get a degree in social sciences, or ologies, as Maureen Lipman famously called them years ago. We almost, I think through the education system, we almost tell our young people that business is a bit grubby. Mm-hmm. It's not really very nice. It's not really very good. There's no encouragement. And we don't, you're an exception, but I don't think, other than the odd program like The Apprentice, we don't really make much of our successful people. If someone's been a successful entrepreneur, the Sunday papers are full of, who their girlfriend was 30 years ago and, did they get done for drink driving? Whereas I think in other countries, in other parts of the world, I think entrepreneurs who become successful are considered to be fantastic role models. So I think there's a cultural change that is needed here. And I think it particularly applies to trades and skills. I think that, the idea that a young person should train to go into, let's say, plumbing or carpentry, we think that's terrible. Isn't that awful? That our son's going to become a carpenter and earn £250,000 a year. Isn't that terrible? We'd much rather they became a social worker on 20 grand a year. We've somehow got this wrong. So I think there is a cultural shift needed too.
Absolutely. And Charlie Mullins well. He spoke here before. And his impression is that the tradesperson or the trade business owner, they're going to become the new multi-millionaires across the board. The infrastructure is under a lot of pressure. There's a lot more people coming to the country, both legally and illegally. So that's going to put a lot of pressure on the infrastructure, on the day-to-day. And there's also a real lack of people coming up into the trade sector, training as apprenticeships and using those, getting those vocational skills. What do you think we should be doing as a country to encourage that? I'd say 95% of the people in this room are in the trade sector.
Yeah, well, engineering is a very good example. Mm-hmm. Engineering, if you speak to British small-scale engineers and, go around the factory and say, well, why haven't you got more British-born workers? Well, because they're not doing engineering. They're not getting qualified in engineering. Those guys have to employ trained engineers, qualified engineers from the rest of the world. So, I'm back to where I was with the education system, mm-hmm. with what we encourage people to go and do. And, because we expanded the university sector, we started charging all the kids $9 grand a year, which, if they don't do well in life, they don't pay back, but if they do, they do pay back. But I think we can actually tinker with this. Where are we really short of people? as a country, in terms of where we need to go in the future, where are we really short? Well, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine. That is where we're short as a country. Maths is catching up a little bit. But, medicine, 40% of NHS doctors are foreign-born. So we're actually taking doctors from countries that probably need those doctors more than we do, from West Africa or whatever it may be. So my idea on this would be, and it's an idea that I'm going to push, and if you believe what the New Statesman say, I do have some influence over current Conservative policy, that I think that we should say, if you're going to do a STEM subject, because that's the shortage the country needs for the future with where we're going to go, there are no tuition fees. Help guide people rather than punishing people. Encourage people. Do it through the education system. Do it through the tax system. Encourage people to do the things that we need.
Can I ask you, who do you want to win the next election?
Well, who I want to win the next election and who's going to win the next election may be different things. The Labour Party will win the next election. I have absolutely no doubt about that. Yes, they've got some splits at the moment over the Israel-Palestine row, but the Conservatives will lose the next election. The Conservatives deserve to lose the next election, and the Conservative movement needs to lose the next election. If we're going to get a British government within the next 10 years that understands what these folks actually would like to see from government, it can only happen by this Conservative Party losing and radically reappraising what it actually is and what it stands for and what its purpose is. And, I'm old enough to remember it happening once before. 1974, Heath had been a disastrous Prime Minister, U-turned on virtually everything. The Chancellor had created a lot of free money. Funny that, isn't it? Which had led to inflation. Really amazing, isn't it, what goes on? The thing was a disaster. The Tories lost the election, and they completely retrenched and regrouped. And they said, look, we and the Labour Party for the last 25 years have both been pursuing the same economic outlook, namely high tax, big state, and they came back with a radically different thought process and a leader called Margaret, who wasn't even that well known. And they presented it to the country in 1979. They got rid of the Labour government after one term. Top-rate income tax. If you earned more than £38,000 a year, in 1979, your marginal top rate was 83%. 83% on every penny you earn over $38,000 a year. And she brought it down to 40%. All right? Allowances were lifted for those on lower wages to feel they had more money in their pockets. Deregulation occurred. And everything you see in this square mile really happened since 1979. The city went from being a bit sleepy into being the global superpower when it came to financial services. So I think the Tories need to lose. There'll then be a massive debate about what they stand for, and it's the fire alarm. It's not protesters, I promise you.
That was meant to happen, guys. That was meant to happen. We knew it was coming. You're safe, don't worry.
No, it's all right. I'm used to being heckled. It's really not a problem at all.
They're heckling you down there somewhere now. You've got the room.
No one's been heckled more than me. And no one enjoys it more than me either. If you want to fight, someone hold my jacket. There's no problem with that. Yeah, so this is what I think. The Tories lose very badly the next time round. There'll then be a war that goes on within conservatism for what it stands for. And I intend very much to be a part of that debate. I think we need to encourage entrepreneurship. I think we need to cut the size of the state. And we need to let people flourish. The most successful global leader, Western global leader, that I've seen in my lifetime, sparking economic growth, was Ronald Reagan in America. And he said, let me tell you what the worst 8 words are in the English language. I'm from government, and I'm here to help.